up as a kid in Oklahoma, where I'm from, the Chili Bowl is the biggest race that we have. The Chili Bowl has kind of been my favorite race of the year. Growing up a dirt racer in Oklahoma, that's kind of the holy grail.
This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
The host venue for this round is Brazil, where the season-long melody of the one-note samba comes home to its roots playing in the key of H for Robert Hartley. But recently the music changed as the Colombian salsa Felipe Calderon took to the dance floor and stole the show, winning last time out at Donington. What will the rhythm of the road be today? Find out now, because presented by Ricmotech, the Advanced Mazda Cup comes to Autódromo José Carlos Pache for round 10 on his 2019 winter season schedule. And all the strength of field action from green flag to victory donuts comes your way live as it happens right here on the Global SimRacing Channel via the iRacing Esports Network. From the home of Sergio Mendes, hello and welcome to another GSRC broadcast streaming your way on IESN. The hardest working man in sim race broadcasting, Joe Peak, joins yours truly, Phil Soups On, to bring you our Words Eye View. Sean Crackers Ambrose as director's duties, armed with cameras locked and loaded by Dougie Beard. Joe, the broadcast opening mentioned the rhythm of the road. For drivers to do well today, they had better have practiced the dance steps. Tell us a little bit about today's racetrack.
Well, Bill, this dance has two parts to it. The first half of this 2.6 mile circuit is mostly flat out. You'll have some braking into the Senna S, which is the first corner, and then some into the Descida del Lago, which is the fourth turn on the track map. Then from there, this boogie gets a little more complicated. A weaving bit of back and forth hairpins that make up the infield slow the drivers down and offer little in the way of chances to pass. It also requires drivers to show their technical prowess if they want to be fast, because there's a lot of unique apexes, interesting bits of camber, and a decent amount of elevation change. Eventually, when you exit Junção, it's back to nothing but holding your foot to the floor. What's really interesting is these 15 corners aren't the original layout. Back in its guise in the 70s when F1 first visited, it was a whopping 5 miles and 26 turns. Imagine how long it'd take these poor MX-5s to circle around that one, considering they're clocking it at just under 2 minutes today. As with any track that includes long straights, the word of the day for the Miatas will be catching the draft and knowing how best to use it throughout the race. But then anyone lacking pace will need to do their best in that infield section not to lose the tail of the car they're fighting. Honestly, the best way to show you what I mean is to hop on board the GSRC MX-5 and take a lap around Interlagos.
All right, we've got Amjad Yaman in the GSRC MX-5, so let's do a lap around Interlagos. Coming down to turn 1, the Senna S provides a great opportunity for an overtake, but attack and defense can be a complicated affair with the way the track falls away and switches direction. Regardless of the outcome, at the end you're dumped onto the Curva do Sol, which is flat out in this little MX-5. And this sets you up for the next best place for a pass at the end of the Reta Aposta. This stretch will provide a good draft, allowing you to close in or even get side by side with your opponent. Coming up is the braking for Descida del Lago, and you really want the inside line to have a chance at getting by the driver ahead of you. The car will want to understeer as we head back downhill, and once again, you won't be lifting for a bit as the car slides its way through 5. Drift it back to the left and get the car lined up for Ferradura. This double apexer is fairly fast, meaning it's going to be tough to force a 2-wide situation. I wouldn't really recommend trying to pass here unless you're desperate. Thankfully, there's lots of paved runoff around the outside. Quickly, you're going to get on the brakes for 8, which kicks off the slow, winding technical section of the circuit. Each corner requires you to set the car up for the following one, so don't worry about maximizing the exit as much as where you position your car. These curbs are very wide and flat though, so feel free to use as much as you can. Now we hit the Bico de Pato, which is a decreasing radius hairpin. Late apex this baby, and then swing it across the track immediately for the best line through 11. Once again, the curbing on the outside is usable, so make the best of it for a nice wide entry into Junção. Every drop of speed you can carry through this turn will pay dividends on your lap time and for the opportunity to pass into 1. Without much power in the engine of the MX-5, this long uphill climb needs you to keep your momentum up. At this point, it's all about minimizing your steering input, or if you've got a competitor sizing you up, positioning your car for defense. Hopefully, you can hold them off in the braking zone, but as we come across the line, you've finished a lap around Interlagos.
That video lap, as well as everything on this broadcast, is sponsored by Ricmotech. Most complete source for all sim racing hardware, they have it all. From starter kits and do-it-yourself plans to professional level gear and complete motion simulators. They can fabricate adapters, modification kits, and high-end hardware in addition to carrying a complete line of specialty products from major brands. See it all at recmotech.com. Bill?
All right, let's go ahead and see it all as we take a look at the point standings now. You would think that a series that had seen 6 different winners in over 9 races would be not quite as lopsided as it is. But other than Robert Hartley, all the others' wins have been sprinkled around through the field, so you can see that Bob is up there with a whopping 107-point lead. Now, more important than that 107 points is that 166 is sitting by the droplet on his road there. That's his largest drop race. So I'm not sure if Hartley's here today, but even if he isn't, the least amount he's going to be credited with is 166 points, and I just got the news from our director that he did show up, so that's great. Let's talk about Mike Dam. He has a win. He's back 107, ahead of Dries Nice, who almost had a win at Road Atlanta, had that snatched away from a fuel issue. The guy who's been racing near the top 5, well, actually probably in the top 5 most of these, just haven't been able to race up front, is David Paton. He sits in 4th position, and then, of course, Gene Fittis, another driver still looking for a win. So only 2 drivers on that chart with wins so far. But what is interesting, the guy that you do not see is Felipe Calderon, who got the best of Robert Hartley last time. He was a great racer, a great interview, and he's back here today, so we can't wait to take a look at him. Joe, why don't we take a look at the race details?
Absolutely. We're in round 10 here today. Out of 12, they get 4 drop weeks, of course. Now, these are very short races that they're running in this series, only 25 minutes. That means the pressure's on to really get up to the front so that you can battle for the lead when it comes to the important laps at the end. The setups are open on the car, so anything that you can do to an MX-5 in real life, you can do here to the cars in iRacing. They have an incident cap, though. That means that off tracks, contact with other cars or the walls or spins will eventually disqualify you if you reach 17 of them. Shouldn't see too many of those with it being such a short race, though, in the series. They use the official iRacing points in this race, and you've got no spare car to save you if you get damaged. And Bill, I can tell you that damage is not a good idea around here, because even though you've got that technical section, the long straights mean that if you're down on top speed, oh, you're going to be hurting for the other half of the lap.
Well, let's talk top speed right now. Robert Hartley sits on the tentative pole with a 149.9. Felipe Calderon with a 149.9 right there as well. Mike Dam. Hey, the Australian driver is here. Sonny Kanchan. He's put in a 150.4. A lot of big names. Fittis, Paton. Nice is here. So really good to see all the top names. A name I'm not familiar with. Maybe we can put the camera on him. Car number 8, Emilian Largo out there. Emilio is a name I'm just getting to know. He sits 8th right now.
Yep, just finished his 2nd lap, and that 50.8 puts him solidly in the mid-pack. As we switch over to Ross Daniels, who's also completed his 2 laps, and unfortunately for him, he's looks like he's had an off on both laps because neither one counted, so he's going to start from the very back of the field. And it's not impossible to climb up here, Bill, but it certainly puts you under the gun.
You know, Interlagos is notorious for one of the shiniest tracks as the sun really bounces off of it. You can see that it's beginning to set. Joe, let's take a quick look at the weather and see how that's going to play a factor in this short race that's coming up.
Yeah, this is really good conditions. It's been this way for most of the week of racing, with it being right towards sunset. You can see 71 degrees Fahrenheit. That means that it'll be very, very grippy on the track. The wind also pretty low. These cars can sometimes get blown around if you have too much wind, so that shouldn't really affect the drivers. It'll all come down to each person's performance and not really having to adapt to wacky weather out here today, because it's pretty ideal.
Let's talk about field size here. We have 19 drivers scheduled to race. Now, because there are splits, it's a pretty large attendance. So I think we have about 38, 39 drivers going to race with us. So I had to break up into 2. This is different from last round, where we had a 28-car field. That's because it didn't split. So it's always a little bit different. The more you have doesn't necessarily mean your grids are going to be bigger. As we look at Ross Daniels.
The important thing that the drivers need to keep track of, though, is that this means more points are on hand, Bill.
Yes, absolutely. And it looks like qualifying is done, so let's go to the grid right now and we'll run it down. Joe, we got time. We'll take it a row at a time. On the front row is Robert Hartley. He's going to be flanked by the guy who beat him last time out, Felipe Calderon.
Mike Dam will be in row 2 and 3rd with Sonny Kanchan all the way down in 4th. Surprisingly slow qualifying for him.
Third drivers looking for wins. Gene Fittis and David Paton make up row 3.
Then in 7th is Dries Nice and Emilio Largo, newcomer, starting 8th.
Yano goes in 9th. He's going to be inside of Matthew Smith.
Derek Holland will start in 11th in row 6, and then Ivan Garcia will be 12th.
In the Baker's Dozen spot is Andres Bertoni. Flanking him is the Sheriff, Jody White.
Koramiwa returns, and he'll be starting P15. Hironori Kobayashi starts in 16th today.
Couple Japanese drivers there for Joe to handle very professionally. I get Brian Zabilski. He's going to be in 17th spot inside of Damon Duckworth. And the final car out there is Ross Daniels. 19 cars scheduled to race here in South America. Robert Hartley, our points leader, on the pole. Round number 10 of the Advanced Mazda Cup. Go ahead, Joe.
I was just going to say, looks like we've only got Dries Nice left to go, and then we're ready to go racing for round 10.
Waiting for the Belgium driver to take his spot. Should be a good one today. Lots of big names. There's technical sections. It's a draft track as well. Should be fun to see how long the train is. You need the engine start to harmonize. You know what to do. Get ready for it. Gather up the chickens, take curry on the cows because the horses are out of the barn. Round number 10 is led by Robert Hartley. He's being chased by Felipe Calderon. Mike Dam tucks into 3rd position. Looking to get in there is Sonny Catch Me If You Catch, and I think Catchin is going to get that spot. Rounded out 5th is Gene Fittis.
Yeah, Sonny knew what he was doing. He immediately saw an opening, and he's going to make good use of it. That could be critical, because look at the gap that's already separating between himself and Calderon. But now he's got a challenge from behind, because Gene Fittis got himself a run out of the Curva de Sol.
Rossi and the New Zealand driver racing in 3rd and 4th as they both get around Mike Dam. Meanwhile, running away with it up front is Hartley and Calderon.
Very clean start for that chicane at the start. Oh, and I spoke too soon. We got a car off, and that is Atsushi Maeda, unfortunately, who gets sent all the way to the back with only George Fike behind him now.
Not sure if he made any contact. He'll get to continue. The bad news is it's such a short race, it'll be hard to make up the time in the amount of time that's left. The back half of your top 10, Emilio Largo, Dries Nice, Matthew Smith, Andres Bertoni, and David Paton as they still work lap number 1 through the technical section.
Yeah, they got pretty quickly single file through here. Before that, it was a lot of side-by-side racing. It's so fast all the way up to about turn 8. Even Ferradura is incredibly fast in these cars. I was barely braking into the practice mode.
If you want to learn your Portuguese, pay attention. I'll be telling the corner names in English. Joe will be doing it in their proper Portuguese name. You can learn how to pronounce those. Let's go up front. I think we're going to maybe have an attack for the lead. Calderon looking to the outside, surprisingly not behind Hartley. If he was really interested on taking that lead, I think he would have tucked in behind him. He took that wide line, maybe just getting a feel for his opponent.
Yeah, I'm not sure why he wasn't tucking up under there. Maybe he just wants to ride behind him. Unlike the MX-5 World Tour, there's no pit stops here, so there's really no reason to try and save fuel behind the guy ahead. So it could be that he just prefers to stick to his racing line because that's where his marks are. And now you're going to see how powerful the draft is. Look, even on this straightaway, which isn't the longest, down to the Descida del Lago, he gets right underneath him.
Here's the deal as well. Sonny Kanchan comes with a reputation that precedes him. So it might be a case of Calderon reeling, hey, this is a two-man race. I can keep it a two-man race as long as I don't fool around with Robert Hartley. I've got about 1.2 seconds on Sonny Kanchan right now. Maybe that's how he wants to keep it. Dam was able to get around Fittis. Dam up to fourth.
And Fittis is not too far behind right now. As we take a look at that coming into turn 8. Like I said, it's not really as likely that you'll see passes through this section, but it's also not impossible. I mean, these are a trio of hairpins, and so there's a decent amount of braking, at least into 2 of them. This being one of the ducks built right here. So you could see some sneak attacks built, just it's going to have to be a bit of a desperate move.
11. Then into 12, which is English. It is the junction, Joe. What is this in Portuguese?
Well, I can't say that I'll be good at Portuguese in all of these, but Junção, I think our director might correct me on that.
So,
Junção. Okay, there we go. The leads. Yeah.
Coming right out of, as they go up to the pits there, they get the pass made, so Calderon gets it done. The gap is still 1 second back to Cantion. Look at Hartley get right back in him and said, okay, let's go.
Yeah, Hartley definitely knows the game. You were mentioning about Felipe earlier with Sonny, and Hartley knew that if he tried to fight back here into the Senna S, he's going to slow both of them up. They don't have the biggest of gaps right now. It's only about a second back to Cantion, and even that will be enough to bring him in the draft slightly each time they get to these straights here.
You're right on board as they continue to try to work together. The white and black car is Hartley. The dark car up in front is Calderon. Racing out of Colombia. Almost a little home cooking, I would think, for the Colombian. Brazil's a big country, but nevertheless.
It's the only South American track here in iRacing right now, so it's as close as he'll get for a home track for a bit.
Got it. Oh, we have Dries Nice has a mistake. He is off. I'm not sure. Dries has called it a day. Dries was in 7th. This might have been just a hardware issue.
Hardware or something happened in real life, because really nothing was happening with him. He hadn't hit anything. He doesn't have any damage. He just pulled off into the paved runoff out of the Descida del Lago, and then he was done.
Yeah. We go up front. I make it a rule around my house, though, that my wife has to dress very, very conservatively on race day so that she doesn't distract me. So it's always an issue. That gap, 8/10 of a second now between Hartley and Cantion. Cantion is coming. Look what's happened, though. He's kind of trying to leave Dan behind. Mike doing his very best to hang in there, the Canadian driver.
And once again, look at that bump draft going on between the top two. And for those wondering, yes, the bump draft can work here in the MX-5s, but as soon as they hit the back of the braking here for the Senna S, look at how much Cantion closes. In fact, at this point, he's made it a single train. Look at that. Top 5 all together, all the way back to Fittis.
Yep, absolutely. A second gap back to Emilio Largo, who's really trying to get in there. A nice run from him. Another name we're not familiar with. Good to see him racing as well. I think he might be close enough to get on the back of Fittis. Then it's a mile back to Matthew Smith in 7th.
Ooh,
let's go back there and take a look at that, though. That's some good racing.
I was just going to say, they were almost 3 wide for a moment. Smith leads Bertoni, leads Baton with Miwa, Garcia, and Holland all together. Look at this. This is a lot more frisky than the top group, which is what we're used to seeing with these MX-5 races.
Honestly, this is how it is. The front guys almost play by an unwritten law. Back here, though, it's all holds or no holds are part back here. Oh my!
Wow! I think that was Bertoni almost getting into Smith, and that caused a huge check. Look at this. Baton now side by side with Miwa. He's going to try it, but he's on the wrong side into the duckspill.
Baton able to fend off Miwa back there racing in the car number 13, looking in that car with the black stripes on it. Derek Holland, a veteran of the MX-5s, watching on. Ivan Garcia back there as well. Some good racing back here, and it all starts in 7th position.
What was fascinating about that is it was an accordion effect, because it started up at the front, and then it just caused opportunities. Ooh.
Here it comes. Hartley going to make the move. Look at this, trying to put the toothpaste in the jar is Cantion right behind. He gives him a bump, and he gets a little bit squirrely. That's Hartley on the inside. He's going to be able to hang on to 2nd. Calderon is relegated back to 3rd. Dam and Fittis right behind, but we have ourselves back in front as our pole sitter, Robert Hartley.
I'm not sure why he closed quite that quickly. Maybe the draft just worked faster than he thought, unless it was an early bit of braking from Hartley. Even still, I'm hoping he didn't get any sort of damage from that, because you can hit the front of the car hard enough that you can take away a little bit of the top speed that we talked about by damaging the nose.
We talked about all the different winners so far this season. Hartley has 3, Cantion has 1, Calderon has 1, Dam has 1. Trying to join the winner's party is Gene Fittis back in 5th.
Yeah, watch this compared to what we saw just a bit ago with that mid-pack coming into the infield section. No real dives. They still accordion together, but nobody's really making any attempts where they stick their nose in on someone ahead of them. They're just kind of trying to stay in line and make sure that nobody behind is trying to make any wild moves.
Great shot. You can see the sun bounce off the track there as it gets that beautiful glow off of it.
The temperature's going to continue to dip a little bit, not drastically. It's gone down by about 1 degree since the qualifying. Even though we're getting the sunset, it's not a long enough race that you're going to see the temperatures swing too wild.
Looks like the leaders are going to behave down the front straight this time. I don't want to leave it quite yet because we don't want to miss a pass for the lead. And sure enough, here comes Sonny Canchin. Boy, he gets a good run. Hartley tries to take a defensive line. It's not going to be. It's going to be a bump draft as those two try to get away. Calderon again taking that high wide line into corner number 1. I think they're going to behave. Let's jump back in on that second group, though. This is a madhouse back here. Smith being attacked on the right side by Patton, on the left side down low by Bertoni. Bertoni and
we got to go to the lead because the lead's changing hands again. This time Canchin is going to stick his nose to the inside, and Hartley's not going to fight it. They're going to go side by side into the Descida del Lago. Now, even though this way off there for Hartley, you can that can slow you down a little bit if you're not careful, and it's too wide behind them for 4th as well.
Whoa! He knew exactly how long his car was, and that's Sonny Canchin. He comes across the nose of Robert Hartley. That is some very professional rhinoplasty being practiced right there. Dan back and forth trying to get around Calderon. Calderon enjoying the show in front of him right now.
Yeah, some real confidence. Oh, was that a bit of netcode touching between Hartley and Calderon?
And off in the grass. That's damn. Boy, he gets it gathered up.
Well, for all we talked about things calming down, it's picked up now, Bill. We're less than halfway through.
And welcome to the party, Emilio Largo. He is there now. I told him if they started to play around up front, he'd be able to join the party. It's now a 6-car train, and he did it all by himself.
So now I'm curious to see if Hartley will try to go right back. He was very close off of Jun Xiao. And yes, indeed, he's going to stick his nose to the inside. And he is going to be passed by the start-finish line. Now, this is important. I had information telling me that you probably won't be able to pass before the start-finish line. But maybe Hartley just got himself a really good run. We'll have to pay attention to that, Bill, because we'll have to see who's really good on the exit of what is effectively the last corner.
Yeah, you can see that Canchin that time took that wide line out of 12 and 13. Then he did a little bit of weaving down the straight. Calderon back in 3rd. Going to ride on board with Sonny Canchin. If he catches, he moves to the inside of Hartley now as they go through 3. Now he tucks back in behind.
Yeah, different tune this time. I'm not sure if maybe he found out something last time, and that's all he was doing is once again, Hartley swinging out wide. He's, like I said, he's got the chance to do that without costing too much, and it's only an incident point. But those can rack up, especially if it gets a little bit rough out there and he gets a bump, because that's 4 more incident points, Bill.
We are aware that there are other cars in this race. We'll try to get back there as soon as we can, but honestly, my senses are tingling right now that things are going to heat up. And I think Mike Dam, back in 4th position, realizes that he has the pace to win, but he can't win from 4th, so he's got to start to make his move. Time's running out from those guys 4th, 5th, and 6th. Dam, Fittis, and Largo.
Yeah, I'm really starting to wonder, since we saw Canchin back out of that move down into turn 4, that maybe the previous pass that we saw was him just kind of scoping things out to figure out what's possible and what's not. And he doesn't have to make the passes now, but he knows, exactly what kind of run he needs to try and make a pass, such as, well, looks like one right here.
We look at that now. This report that it's about 10 seconds back to Smith, who races in 7th.
Ooh.
So, now what is going on here? Calderon is going to try to pin Canchin down to the inside. Let's see if he forces the issue. He's about a half car length. Now he goes to the outside. Watch for the... He's going to try to power around the outside, Joe.
Yeah, and Felipe was very, very close to the back of Canchin, much closer. Whoa, and back there, I think Hartley either got a slowdown or he just got loose.
I think he got loose, I really do. Dam capitalizes on it, as does Fittis, and let's move Emilio Largo now up into 5th, as our pole sitter is relegated to the back of the train, riding caboose in 6th.
Wow, Calderon is strong on the brakes, Bill. He was not beside Sonny at all before the braking zone, as he almost clips him again. But by the time they hit the turn-in, he was fully alongside him.
And now the hamster comes in here. He's going to be in good position. We're talking Mike Dam, but he backs out a little bit. That's going to let Fittis come up on the run. Oh, this racing is intense.
Yeah, that's 2 times in 1 lap. Oh, and this time he does get his nose in. Remember I said those sneak attacks are possible. And wow, he made that one stick.
Oh my goodness, that was a shoehorn, a crowbar, nicely done, but he didn't have to cause any damage. He put his nose in there and he gets it. Felipe Calderon, after getting the win last time out of Donington, looking to go 2 for 2. Canchin, Dam, Fittis, Largo, and Hartley is still struggling into the caboose spot.
The only thing that worries me is what I saw from both Felipe and Sonny is they were both very, very brave about how close they got to the other car. And they're very, very far apart in the world. The net code can sometimes bite you if you get that risky with it. If it comes down to the final laps and they're fighting that hard again, I fear one of them might get turned by those sort of moves.
Colombia and Australia both south of the equator, but on opposite sides of the globe, obviously. Canchin in 2nd right now. How about Mike Dam? He's got to be feeling a little bit better now in 3rd. This is within striking distance as they work their way through the Senna S. We're going to do it, Joe. We got to go back and look at these guys back in 8th position. This is Smith being under attack by David Paton.
Yeah, Paton was trying to get himself a run off the Senna S, but it didn't quite work. That's really how you make the moves down into the Descida del Lago. The Retta Aposta here does give you that draft, but most of your momentum and most of the draft happens in the Curva de Sol, and you can see he just did not get enough of it.
Not missing anything up front right now. They continue to be single file through the horseshoe. It is still Calderon ahead of Canchin, Dam, Fittis, Largo, and Hartley. They race in order through the technical section.
As we check back in with those guys, I kind of feel like Hartley needs to start making some moves. He got slipped all the way back, and we know he's fast. With only
missing the apex that time was Calderon, but Canchin could not capitalize. Sorry to interrupt you.
It's okay. But Sonny's going to try it once again. Whew, look at how close he sticks his nose in, but still Calderon takes the apex down at the junction. These drivers, despite being new to each other from our end, seem to really kind of know how each other races and have a lot of confidence in that.
Okay, the defensive line by Calderon now. Moving to the outside is Canchin. Let's see if he can get the momentum. I think he might have used it up a little bit early, but what do I know? They're side by side. Look at this as they come across the start-finish line. It is going to be Calderon, like Joe said. Something to remember on that final lap. You might not be able to snake the position.
And Sonny did back out of it, even though he could have forced the issue down into the Senna S. But once again, I'm really shocked that the number 1 of Hartley is just sitting back there at the back. Maybe he feels like he can make more positions quicker than I thought, as we check in on the Maeda and Fike battle.
Maeda watching Fike for 12th position. They have lost touch with Derek Holland. These guys continue to race back here. The racing has been no less intense farther back, but to be honest with you, it's just hard to get a lot of coverage back on them.
And in fact, I thought we might see a move by Fittis on Dam, but he backs out of it into the horseshoe. These two also going to stay in line as they come out of the Descida del Lago. The point that I was trying to make is that Gene's running out of time. There's only 7 minutes left, and like I said, about 2-minute laps, Bill. I think we're going to get some side by side here into the infield.
We do indeed look at them race. They keep it sorted out as they remain separated. You talked about the Descida del Lago. How about Largo in 5th position right now? Can we go up to that? He's in a battle with Fittis. And does he get it? No, Gene holds him off.
Yeah, I think that's Lago and Largo. So Lago is lake, Largo I think is Spanish for large. So but don't quote me on that though. Yeah, he's gonna get another go at it because he's well within the slipstream coming past the Subidos dos boxes though. The question is he gonna try and get aggressive? And they're actually starting to drop Hartley now.
And here comes the pass as he's gonna make the move on the inside. Emilio gets the pass made on the New Zealand driver. Move him up to fourth. Been a nice run for him. Up front, they begin to separate a little bit. Calderon, Katchen, and Dam.
And Calderon, Katchen hasn't really been making many moves in these past few laps. He's calmed down. Wonder if he's got everything he needs to know. And at this point, he's waiting for the right point, which could be 2 laps to go, could be 1 lap to go. It all depends on if he really feels confident on his exit on the junction to try and make that pass to the line.
Joe, a big supporter of this series is Triff Smith and Dries Nice. They've actually paid for a segment. Why don't you go back and look at the back markers? I'll interrupt you, though, if things happen up front.
All right, let's give you the back marker review. Currently, Kota Miwa is the last car running in 18th, and there's a battle just in front of him. That's Damon Duckworth trying to go to the inside of Brian Zabelski, and it looks like he's going to get it. Zabelski's going to go to the last spot. Miwa's going to be second to last in 17th, and now Duckworth is in 16th. If they'll let me step away from this to the cars ahead. No, they won't, because they're still fighting, actually, and now it's going to change again, where Duckworth is back to 17th, and now Miwa gains 2 positions in 1 lap up to 16th. Let's step up to P15. That's Ross Daniels now in the number 16 car, a little bit ways behind Hironori Kobayashi sitting in 14th. They're pretty much by themselves. And then we'll stop at P13. That's at Tsushi Maeda sitting in that spot in the 15th car.
Nice job. Tripp and Dries, back marker shout out. Here comes a pass for the lead. Katchen's going to duck to the inside. Let's see what the Colombian driver does. He's going to let him have it. Look how good, though. Under braking, I really like what Felipe can do. Takes it in really deep and holds the position.
And it's not like he's sacrificing the exit of his corners, which is what's so amazing about that. He just somehow manages to go deep in, get the car to turn, and then power off, because a lot of drivers have complained about understeer if they brake too deep for too long into the race. A little bit of a look from Katchen, but not a serious attempt.
And the top 3 have left the other guys behind. Largo back in 5th is a second and a half back. I'm sorry, that would be 4th position ahead of Hartley and Patton.
And he is staying tucked right up underneath Calderon here.
Let me
Don't forget Dam, though. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's Largo, Fittis, and Hartley. Patton is back in 7th, racing all by himself. Go ahead, Joe.
Don't forget Dam, because he could be the dark horse in all of this. Maybe he'll get a draft from both of them, Bill. Again, 2 cars cut a bigger hole than 1, and that could allow him to maybe sneak by both of them down the straight.
Amster right now looking up at Sonny Catch Me If You Can't. And then the newcomer, Felipe Calderon.
Are you going to get the white flag this time?
3:07 to go. Boy, it's going to be a while before they get there. Lap times are about 1:50. I think we'll have 2 to go.
Excuse me, I was thinking it was 2 minutes left. Math was going wrong in my head already.
Well, the math right now from Felipe Calderon is easy. I am in 1st. That's a straight number, and that's where I want to stay. Making that wide line again as Sonny Katchen does not make the move. They do not get the white flag this time by, and Mike Dam, who worked so hard to get up into striking distance, he's there now.
All right, so what does Sonny do through here? Is he going to use a slingshot on him? Is he going to just wait behind? He's got a run on him. He's pulling up, and I think, yeah he's just going to stay in line.
Again, more testing. I don't think he wants to be there. Just feeling out. He's going to make that pass on the last lap, and then I think he wants to play defense to the start-finish line. That is my guess. I've seen him test the line. We go back. We look at Hartley back here. The question is, what has happened to Hartley, and why is it taking him so long to get up? Still back in 6th as he works.
And I don't see any damage on the car. I'm really baffled by this. Maybe his qualifying was just something of a one-off, and he's not as strong at this circuit as he made it seem to appear.
They work through the technical sections. Nothing going on up front. It still races Calderon, Ketchen, and Dam. We'll keep an eye on this while we look at this battle. There's a pass right there. It's going on for 7th position.
Got Patton on the inside, and the black, gold, and white car. Looks like he's going to manage to get it done, but he's got to deal with a lot of blinking there with Smith, who's been doing that for much of the race.
All right, our leaders are going to get the white flag. So for this final minute and 49 seconds, we'll focus our camera on them. Here he comes, Felipe Calderon out of the final corner. Now here comes Ketchen. He wants to be in the lead now. Let's see if he forces the issue down into one or if he waits till the technical section where he's also been exploring. The Colombian driver trying to ease his way over, trying to get the best line he can down into one. Oh, they touch a little bit more. That's going to slow Ketchen down. They are still side by side, and Calderon gets the drive through the center S's. He's able to hold on. Damn, watch the whole show. Back from 3rd. Ketchen now trying to catch up. He is about 3 car lengths back. He does not want to lose the position to the hamster. Ketchen pulls over to try to get a draft on Calderon. Calderon leaving back and forth like a loom as they head down into lake descent through 4. It is Calderon still out in front. Sonny Ketchen is running out of time. They're going to get to the technical section here pretty soon. Ketchen might have to force the issue. He knows it's going to be hard to make the pass out of 12 because the start-finish line is going to come too early. But he remains 2 car lengths back as they start, Joe, to weave to the right and left section of the track.
Yeah, Ketchen's already using some interesting tactics. He did not track out all the way to the racing line on the front stretch. That's why you saw that contact. Calderon was trying to get his car as wide out as possible, but when there's a car there, you can't do that. He's using every inch of track now to try to get speed and get away from Sonny.
Coming around through the duckbill now, down into the dive. It is a 2 car length lead for Felipe Calderon. 1 more real corner to go, and that is 12. Then it's going to be a drag race to the start-finish line. We don't think you can get there in time. Let's see if Sonny Ketchen can break the rules. They are flat on the throttle now. The Colombian driver, Felipe Calderon, trying to go 2 for 2. The reputation, the man who has won so many times, Sonny Ketchen back behind him. He is a half car length back now, looking to make the move. Which line will Calderon take? Calderon leaves the inside line open. That's the shortest distance, but it's not going to be there in time. 2 for 2 for Felipe Calderon. Sonny Ketchen gets 2nd. Mike Dam wins here in Brazil.
Whew, we still got battles going in the back, though. Smith and Patton fighting with each other. Right now, it's Patton the chaser, and he does have a good run. I think he might have enough. Let's see at the line who it's going to be. And Patton gets him. Woo! By 1/100th of a second.
Great finish there. Let's give us an opportunity to check in on Koto Miwa. He comes across in 15th position. Everybody else wrapping up their laps. Last car on the lead lap. Let's give him a little screen time. Car number 19. It is Brian Zabelski as he works his way into the final corner. His race is over, and so is our the racing here, but not our broadcast. We're going to take a short break. We'll be back to run down the entire finishing order before we put a lock on the gate after we talk to some of the drivers. Back in a few. Welcome back to the Global SimRacing Channel's coverage here on the iRacing Esport Network of the Advanced Mazda Cup, round number 10 from Interlagos. Joe, before we go to the grid, let's talk about something that we really didn't think about, and that was the ramifications of bump drafting.
Yeah, unfortunately, we learned why Robert Hartley seemed to lack speed. It wasn't that he lacked speed. He had to practice caution because the bump drafting caused him enough incidents that he was in danger of being disqualified. And sadly, we'll see in the results, well, he did get disqualified.
And he just couldn't afford to have somebody behind him bump drafting and helping him along because it would have sent him to the Twilight Zone. Let's give you the final order right now. It is Felipe Calderon as he goes 2 for 2 here in the Advanced Mazda Cup. The Colombian driver picks up the win, beating some big names. One of those, Sonny Canchin. In third, it is Mike Dam. Did his very best to get up to the lead, but could not find any room on the track to get it done. Gene Fittis and Emilio Largo go 4th and 5th. The back half of your top 10, Matthew Smith, Derek Holland, Andres Bertoni, Ivan Garcia, and the Sheriff. Whoop, did I skip one there? I guess we'll stop there with Ivan Garcia. Okay, Joe.
Ivan finished in 10th. Jordi Fike, of course, finishes in 11th with Atsushi Maeda coming home 12th. Of course, he had early problems, had to try and climb back up. Then it's Ross Daniels. How about this? Going from 19th to 13th. Hironori Kobayashi finishes P14 with Kodamiwa, finishing exactly where he started in 15th. Damon Duckworth comes home in 16th, and then the last car to actually be scored is Brian Zabelski for Robert Hartley because of his DQ, winds up in 18th, and the only car behind him, Dries Nice, who we're still not sure what happened to him, finishing in 19th position.
But don't worry, Robert Hartley is going to be fine. As we talked about in the pre-race show, he has 166 pocket points, so he's still going to come away with a pretty good points day. All right, I have the pleasure of getting to talk to Felipe Calderon for 2 weeks in a row. Felipe, congratulations on the win.
Thank you so much, Sup. I am really excited today. It was a good race, and well, I have no words to describe how I feel now.
An interesting thing that we learned was the pole sitter, Robert Hartley, had to drop back behind the drivers because of all the bump drafting that he had picked up too many incidence points. Was incidence close for you? Were you worried about getting disqualified?
I wasn't worried at all. I was trying to manage all the incidents because I know that maybe when you push too much, you have to be careful with that, with the possibility of get disqualified. But I try always to be fast and try to don't do incidents. I think that at the end of the race, I have like 11 incidents. So it was a clean race, but I think that it was a thing that Robert and all the drivers that are racing with us have to keep in mind, and I think it was a really important thing.
I want to talk about your racing line out of the final corner down the straight. Sometimes you were taking the tight inside line close to pit entrance, but other times you were way to the outside. Any reason for taking those different racing lines?
Yeah, there is a reason. The first is because when I was trying to maybe going faster, I want to do a really fast straight. When I go wide, I think that I take more speed. Like when you start a qualifying lap, you try to go wide because you have more meters to run and to maybe have more speed at the end of the straight and in the first turn. So I try to do that. And after that, I try sometimes that maybe go too close to the pit wall because that is the way to maybe don't give some draft to Sonny or to Mike or the guys that are behind me. So that's the reason.
I'm going to get you out of here on this question. I want to talk about the last lap. Were you happy to be in front getting the white flag? Is that where you wanted to be?
Well, for this race, of course, when I was racing, I was trying to keep in my mind my strategy to maybe have the possibility to don't have to fight with too many drivers. When I see that Robert was in the rear of the package, I try to push as hard as is possible for me. And when I see that I was first, I try to keep the position, because I know that if I do a good lap and doesn't give too many space, or doesn't let Sonny to be so close to me, I was able to maybe keep the lead in the straight and maybe win the race.
Well, we're so happy that you were able to race with us today. Congratulations. We hope to see you next time when we go to Virginia. We're going to VIR, so we hope to see you for that one as well. You're fun to watch race. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you to you, and maybe I will try to be there to, if it's possible, to get another win.
Got it. Felipe Calderon, our winner today. Congratulations. That's going to do it here for our broadcast, but I want to thank all the people that made this possible. Let's start by thanking everybody in the Advanced Mazda Cup community, especially the Sheriff, Jordy Fike, for supporting this broadcast, and, of course, the good guys at Ricmotech. You know, I also want to talk about iRacing Esports Network. For over a decade, iRacing has been on the vanguard of esports racing, and if you haven't done so yet, you can join the iRacing community and compete online against thousands of players in the world's most realistic simulation, racing simulation, the best of the best in the iRacing World Championship, as well as many top private leagues like the one you just watched. Our showcase right here on the iRacing Esports Network. GSRC is proud to be part of the family, part of the stable of GSRC broadcasters. All right, let's go ahead and continue on with the rest of these. How about we thank all the people that the equipment and software we use to make cyberspace go in your place. The original music that lets your ears alert your eyes. If you're watching a GSRC production, comes courtesy of Eric Eckelman and June Lalonde. See the screen to how to contact each of them. The Advanced Mazda Cup returns. If you like it, we got more of it. It's going to be in 1 week for the penultimate round, a 25-minute no-stop sprint from VIR. GSRC via ISSN will be there to bring you all the action. Hope to join us. The next IESN broadcast is right here from the Global SimRacing Channel. It's going to be Joe Peak and Johan Vanderbilt calling the action of the Grand Prix Legends. Maybe round 10 from, my goodness, Joe, you're going to Lime Rock. Holy moly. The Lotus 49s of Lime Rock. That'll be fun. Sliding across your screen now are some of the upcoming broadcasts on GSRC. Mark them and check them out. If you'd like more information about the Global SimRacing Channel, go to globalsimracingchannel.com. How about Twitter, GSR Channel, Facebook at Global SimRacing Channel, and Instagram at GSRC_gram. Also, if you haven't done so yet, become a YouTube subscriber by heading over to our YouTube page and hitting that big red button. Finally, on behalf of the entire crew, Joe, Sean, and Dougie, I'd like to thank all of you for watching as we see Felipe Calderon win his second race in a row here from Interlagos. With that said, we're off to have fun from the castle. So until next time, race clean, race hard, see you on the